Hello, so today I want to do a book tag that I saw going around about a month ago because, I can't stay up to date on my book tags, but I thought was really fun. It was, sort of a good combination of just like, a fun, easy video and, a regular just rant about books to my phone camera for an hour video. No. I was drastically wrong. I spent so much time and dedication on this, but without further ado, the Oh My God That Song book tag. My jam. What's a song that no matter how many times you listen to it, it is your song. It is the song that you love the most. And what book is the book equivalent of that? So for this song, I picked Guns and Ships from the Hamilton original Broadway composer cast soundtrack. And for the book equivalent of this song, I picked It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini. I love Ned Vizzini. From this one book that I have read from him, I'm going to be buying Be More Chill as soon as I have the money to buy Be More Chill. But I'm a huge fan of this book. I read this book. It was one of the first ones I read as an ebook on my Kindle. It is amazing, and it was a really good contemporary book, and probably one of the first semi-love stories that I got into. I still find it very interesting to stay. I read it about my 8th grade summer, I believe. Throwback. What is a song that reminds you of the cringiest part of your life? And what is a book that also reminds you of this time? Well, for the song for this, I picked Our Lawyer Made Us Change the Name of this song so we wouldn't get sued by Fall Out Boy, because I went through such an emo music phase and I hate it, and I still listen to this song. Not even gonna lie.
Brothers and sisters, put this record down. Take my advice.
And for the book that I would not have liked so much if I had read it now, I'm picking The 13 Curses by Michelle Harrison. I don't have that actual book. I do have the first book in the series, which I actually only reminds me of Cringe Point in my life because I read these as a kid, but I didn't realize they were from the same series. I had them both, but I didn't really get into this one, but I got into the sequel not realizing it was a sequel, which is something that happens to me far more than it should. But if it doesn't have the series on it, I just presume that it's a standalone because that's how books work, right? And I read the second book, loved it. I loved the fact that they didn't give a backstory, which granted the backstory was the book I didn't quite like. But I thought it was incredibly interesting, and oh my god, I wish I just realized it was a sequel. It was on the back of the book, may I add. It wasn't just like, oh, it wasn't mentioned anywhere. No, the back of the book had pictures here and here of the first book and the second book and the third book. It was a trilogy, and I just didn't realize. Play a recent song that you've been playing on repeat every single day, multiple times a day, and a new favorite book. For this song, I am picking Dodie Clark's In the Middle from her new EP, You.
I haven't seen him much at all. It could be weird, but I think I'm into it. I'm one for the overly passionate.
And for the book equivalent of this song, while drastically different, it is a new favorite of mine, is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I think they did a very good job at changing the perspectives of the characters, and I really like the drastically different situations in the same universe type deal, so it was very, very good. Or gets me. This song understands you. It speaks to your soul, and a book that is just you if you had a book about you. The song I picked for this was I Love Play Rehearsal from Be More Chill.
Like gun control, like spring, like if I'm living up to all I'm meant to be.
And for the book equivalent of this, I am picking Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, just because at one point there is a girl in that book who denies a man's marriage proposal because he does not like the same books as her, and if that ain't me, nothing is me. Number 5, what? A weird song that you're not quite sure why you like it, but you do, and a book that's unique that you really enjoy. The song for this, I picked another Be More Chill song because I cannot get enough of that musical at the moment. I picked the Squib song. And for the book equivalent of this song, I picked Welcome to Night Vale, just the novel. I believe it is by Jeremy Craner. I bought it just because I was a huge fan of the podcast, but that book is weird and it's written in such an amazing way, and I absolutely adore reading it. I say the word adore a lot because I stopped saying like, and it's just not helping the situation. It's very weird. It's meant to be weird. That's the whole point, is that it's a weird town and everything is wrong, and I love it. Let's go. A song that just inspires you, maybe when you're working out, but if you don't work out, then just a song that inspires you in general, and the equivalent of that in book form, so a book that really inspired you. A song that really inspires me is Safety Suit, Looking Up.
Kick back to the guy with the sign, I'll be fine, I say things are looking up.
And for the book equivalent to this, I just sort of picked The Giver, because most of the time books will, all books inspire me to do something, you know? Every book I read gives me some idea that eventually causes me to do something. That's just how my brain works. But I picked The Giver because that's a particularly good one. If I wasn't going to pick The Giver, I would pick The Time Machine by H.G. Wells, since that is the writing style I've always aspired for, and I didn't even realize it because I read The Time Machine as a child, but then I was like, that, when I reread it, I was like, that's what I wanted to write as my entire life. It was such a weirdly influential moment. Chill, your favorite chill relaxing song in a book that you would read on a rainy day. For my chill relaxing song, I picked Suburbia by Troye Sivan. That I would read on a rainy day is No Touch Monkey and Other Travel Stories. This book is kind of an insult to the book, honestly, because when I thought of it, I was like, what's a book that I would only read on a rainy day? Like, I've tried reading this book outside of rainy days. I have to be, like, in a certain mood to read this book. It's very much a coffee table book-esque type of novel, but overall it's still very interesting enough that it would be entertaining on a rainy day. Addicting. What is a catchy, guilty pleasure song? Doesn't have really any substance to it, but you like it anyway. And what is a book that really just, wow, guilty pleasure, you really don't like admitting that you liked it? I hate to admit that, like the song BB Rex's I'm Gonna Show You Crazy is a song that I listen to far more often than I should. And a sort of trashy book that I really like is By Your Side by Casey West. While this is a not horrible book, it is not, I don't like admitting that I like reading YA romances. I love reading YA romances, but this is just like, when you think cheesy YA romance, after you think like Anna and the French Kiss, it's the type of book you think of, you know, By Your Side by Casey West. It's very much just no real substance, really not that interesting plot happening, and the plot that is there is not that well written, but it was still a very entertaining book. I was still dedicated to all 11 hours of that audiobook. Number 9, the final one, Nostalgia. What is a song that you look back on, it has so many memories, and the book equivalent to that, what's a book that you read as a kid that you still think about and was really important to you? So as a kid, there was this YouTube artist that I really listened to a lot, and it was Megan Liz, and I listened to He Is We a lot, but I picked a Megan Liz song because it was easier to track down. So it's a very, it's made for young girls, so it's not really shameful I liked it, so that's why it's not in the cringy part, it's in the nostalgia part, because even though it's a very, old, not really that good song, I love it to death. And the equivalent of this book for me was the Red Blazer Girls. I bought this at like a book fair, probably 2nd or 3rd grade. Just 3 girls solving mysteries around their school, their boarding school, where they had to wear red blazers all the time. And that's really all I remember. I remember that the puzzles were very interesting. And I look back on that and like, that's my childhood right there. Besides, all the Percy Jackson, Harry Potter books, but those are I talk about them way too much. So I figured, let's give a little bit of love to the Red Blazer Girls. That was my rendition of the OMG That Song book tag. If you want to see the originals or all the songs that I used, there will be a playlist in the list in the description, as well as the original videos link. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.